Diane Tull, and this is Cognition, episode 10, and I was going to do something different, but this is Da Vinci was a bastard. I promised this episode a while ago. I was going to do something different, and I'm going to talk about that later, but do you know that Da Vinci was born out of wedlock? He was a bastard. Yep. He was excluded from pursuing his father's footsteps with his career. I can't remember exactly what his father did, but it was something where he could be an apprentice. But if you were born out of wedlock, you couldn't be an apprentice. So he was imperfect by birth in the eyes of society. Yet he is considered one of the world's greatest minds. This is why I hate cultures, and shouldn't use the word hate. I dislike cultures with standards of class based on birth. Not class as in high standards when it comes to quality. I'm talking about like how you were born determines who you are, one's station in life. It is incredibly un-American to decide the status of a person based on birth. It really is. We're all guilty, okay? If you were born into a certain family, like you were born into when your father was a famous politician, everyone's going to expect you to be a certain kind of person. Or if you're born to a celebrity actress, all of a sudden all the doors are going to open for you because you're a celebrity actress, because you're the daughter of a so-and-so. I've actually experienced this. My grandfather was a politician, and when I would visit on the Eastern Shore, I felt like everyone knew him. All I had to do was say his name, and it kind of opened some doors there for me. But they weren't the doors I wanted to have open. And though actually a lot of doors did open for me later in my life, I often wonder if part of that wasn't who I was. But here's the thing, for me, it got to the point where it wasn't about my grandfather, because he'd passed away and died. It wasn't about my father. It was all about me. I opened the doors based on my own work. I had built up a record of being a very intelligent woman and capable. We're all guilty, though. Everyone understands the Constitution says in America that we do not have royalty, okay? Yet we decide the status of a people on such cheap things as money and even looks, because looks are, I look like crap right now. I think I do. But I know that I would look better if I had money to be able to invest in my own health and well-being. Apparently that's not considered, necessary? Which I think is one of the reasons why 1 in 5 people in America, one of the many reasons why 1 in 5 people in America are mentally ill, because we have this juxtaposition between what is valuable. Like, okay, it's like money is important, being able to take care of yourself is important, but then we add this added list of stuff that's important that isn't necessarily important. And we think, for some reason, people have the mentality is that everyone's supposed to eat at McDonald's. I can't eat at McDonald's, it makes me sick. It's things like that. It's like, it's like on the one hand we all are supposed to be equal, and on the other hand we have this thing where no, we're all supposed to be the same, and then on the other hand we're all supposed to be individuals, and by the time it's all over with I'm like okay, I had a car accident in 1997, and I heard a guy on the jury when I told the court I wanted to work in the entertainment say, well, that is not going to happen now. I kept working to make it happen despite a busted knee. I made it as far as being cast in a few times as an actor with lines, and also I earned my union card as a SAG performer, only to have it all swept under the table because I wasn't in the club. I wasn't born into the right family. And then my parents were also, I think, pulling strings behind my back because they claimed to love me, and that's what love really is. You know, it's going behind someone's back and manipulating their life and doing what you think is best for them instead of finding out what they want. And then having this misconception that what they want is not necessarily what they need, but then what you give them that you think they need is an existence where you just feel like you're not allowed to be yourself. You know, yeah. See, we live in this country where we're supposed to achieve the best of us, right? You know, it's like I worked to make what happened in my life on my own. I earned my union card as a SAG performer. We're not supposed to be defined by stereotypes. I mean, everyone remembers that whole concept. A stereotype is actually a negative thing because everyone's different. Like, there are no two people, in all honesty, there really are no two people who are exactly alike. We haven't cloned people to be, and I honestly think if we developed clones, each clone would somehow be different because nature does not work that way. You know, we have this issue with delusions of grandeur and unhealthy mental culture when we start to thinking that some people have more rights than others, that some people deserve to have better treatment. I had someone attack me online over and over again telling me I wasn't allowed to be an actor because they could trace their family history to the start of Hollywood. And I'm like, that's royalty you're talking about. We don't have royalty here. And all honesty, if I'm related to the Carter family, like we're all connected to each other. Like, seriously, we all, in a weird sort of way. We can trace our history on this planet for hundreds of years. So don't say to one person, you can't be this kind of person, you can't do this because of who your parents were. Because you come from a long line of actors, you can't be an actor. You don't come from a long acting. Granted, some people are more talented at it than others, and I come from a long line of politicians and also actors in a way, and I have a natural talent for it. But then because I wasn't born into a family that was known for that, it's like, you're violating my constitutional rights. We don't have royalty. I mean, I was trolled and told I have white privilege. In other words, I was not born into a celebrity family with celebrity connections. I wasn't born into wealthy money, so I could not earn the right to be SAG-AFTRA. But I did. I always thought we had a right to association. In other words, I could decide it was in my life. I could decide. Do you understand the concept? Me actually being able to decide who I want in my life. Me being able to decide who I talk to, who I don't talk to. And granted, I may be rude sometimes. I may be just as rude as everybody else when it comes to Twitter, because sometimes I'll respond to something online. And it's weird, though, because sometimes things pop up in my feed, and I'm not following the person, and I have no idea how it ended up in my feed. And I've gotten a few tips about this, because I'm like, well, I just responded to something that showed up. And I've gotten to fights with people who I think where it's the same thing, where somehow what I said ended up in somebody's feed. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know you. How do you know what I posted? Anyways, I digress. I thought I could always decide, though, who was in my life. Apparently, I didn't have the right when it comes to acting. And yet I've been told I have the right to artistic expression under the First Amendment. And part of artistic expression is me being able to say, I am this kind of artist. This is how I like to express myself. And I like to express myself through acting. I'd rather take an acting class than play on a baseball field. I would rather take an acting class than rug hooking. I would rather take an acting class than go to a bar and drink and hang out with a bunch of people. I would. I don't like drinking, though. I never understood why people go to a bar where it's really loud, where a lot of people and drink. I'm like, it's waste of time and a waste of brain cells, I guess. That's me. I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't have my values and interests. I don't be labeled based on the family I was born into. I'm sorry, I'm going to yawn. I'm tired. And not the education I have and the experience I have and who I am. We have a president right now who thinks he has the right to be there because he's basically labeled himself as king. There are people in this country who think that God appointed him. That is royalty. I mean, my life is a mess, okay? And people think I want someone who lives either a mess like mine or so OCD I would feel stressed out. I'm using that as an example because when it comes down to it, we all have the right to say, I want this person in my life, I want that person in my life. I don't want this person, I don't want this one. And other people don't have the right to interfere with that. Like I've had support from some wonderful people who happen to be known actors. And I've gotten some wonderful support from people who are pseudo-known actors. Like, they don't consider themselves celebrities, and I don't think they want to be celebrities, per se, but they're actors. In other words, I don't think they want, like, People magazine in their business, but they like doing acting. And I've met some people who are actors who are okay with that aspect of it, okay with being in the limelight, but they don't, like, shut the door on my face because they don't think I'm not good enough to be in the same room with them or to talk to them. And other people you don't have the right to say whether or not these people have the right to be in my life. And I'm a trained actor. I'm a trained artist. If you take those people away from me, then I don't have a community, and you cut me off from my emotional support system, and then you make me feel suicidal. You can't make me go to church on Sunday and, oh, but we'll go make you believe in God, and then you'll stop feeling like that. I'm thinking, no, you're going to make me feel even more that way, because I don't want to be forced against my will to be someone I'm not. I don't want to be in a relationship with people, and I'm not talking about just boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. I'm just talking about like relationships in general, just having connection with other people who don't have my values and interests. I do not want to be labeled based on the family I was born into and not the education I have and the experiences I have and the choices I've made in my life of who I am as a person. I don't want to be in a relationship my life is a mess, and I feel so stressed with all of this. I should just be allowed to be myself. I feel like I've got these people trying to shove into my life, men especially, trying to push their way into my life who do not have the same values I want to, and I'm going to curse them out. Because the reality is I want to get violent with them because I was violated. There's a part of me that could see myself getting incredibly violent with a man who tries to make me be their girlfriend or expects me to be nice to them and to be pleasant with them and build a relationship with them when I have already said, no, I don't want that. I want my life back in California. I want my dreams back, and I want the people in my life who I want and who I need, because I need sanity in my life. I need to have the ability to be able to say, this is what I want in my life. This is who I want in my life, not this craziness where I don't have the right to say that. Where I don't have the right, I do not believe in the same thing you believe. Leave me alone. I was going to do this episode on what came first, the vampire or the vampire bat, but after close examination, I couldn't find enough speculative facts to say the bat actually came first. I had this idea that maybe someone a long time ago came to America, saw a bat, and then went back to Russia and Eastern Europe and created the vampire, but the bat was not associated with the vampire until after they were discovered. I'm certain that Da Vinci had his share of failed ideas. He tried and he discovered that. Wasn't that great? Yeah, that was mine. I was like, oh, but I want to believe the vampire bat somehow came first, that someone saw a vampire bat, and that's where we got vampires from. We're all human. I was wrong. It was a nice little imaginative mind trip, though, and it actually kind of gave me some ideas. Who knows, maybe I'll use something that I found in my process of, like, coming up with this idea to make a vampire movie. But, that is, if I'm allowed to actually survive, if I'm actually allowed to be healthy, and if I'm allowed to be in a position where I could make a vampire movie with effectively good people. I want to work with good people. I want to work with talented people. I do not want to work with people who take it as a hobby. It is not something I want to do on my free time. I do not want to spend my weekends shooting a movie with people who, I don't know, work in a bank during the week, because I'm not a banker. I'm not an accountant. I trained as a film editor and a filmmaker and an actor. And my father has actually said he didn't want to take acting away from me. But then he's been trying to make sure I have his kind of life. He says I didn't have a life. I had a life. It was just my private life. I know I'm talking a lot about me in this episode, which is kind of unusual. Or maybe it isn't unusual. But the only thing but I'm kind of the type of person that all I can do is talk about my experiences. I can't define yours. I can't dictate yours. I can't tell you who you are as a person. And maybe that's the point of this. I'm a bastard. I'm not a bastard, actually. I was born in lead by the definition of being born in wedlock. But sometimes I feel like I want to be the bastard. I don't want to be defined by my birth. I mean, I don't. We are not gods and we are not royalty. Even the royals, okay, of the world just got to where they are by chance. I have respect for the Queen of England on some level, or her place in history, but at some point in the future, we're going to grow past the idea of kings, I think. I'm not talking about becoming a socialist. I really hate that word, because I hate the way it's being used, because so many people are just using it as a term for hate, and they're not using it correctly. It's become as bad a word as the N word and the B word and the certain other bad words, or certain other swear words. It's like a swear word to me. It is. It's a swear word. Socialism is a swear word. To me, I'd rather have the word that starts with an F, or one of the words that starts with S, than different word that starts with S, rather than socialism being used and thrown around, because it's lost its meaning. We have to realize that people, to be better, need to start seeing each other as worthy of equal rights and a healthy life, of having dignity, get past color, get past class, get past everything else. We need to allow for everyone. Granted, we're all not going to be, okay, the idea that we're all going to be equal, that is actually never really going to happen. Because we're all going to be different. The objective is, though, for all of us to be treated with dignity and respect, and treated as though we're all capable of doing whatever it is we want to do, and as crazy as some of our dreams may be. And respecting life, but I'm not talking about the issue of abortion. I'm talking about living human beings who can open their mouth and express themselves and express their words and say, this is who I am, butt out. Or this is who I am, I want you in my circle. It's as simple as that. And we make it so complicated. We have fought, the reality is, though, I was going to say we fought wars over this. We kind of stupidly have. Though in actuality, a lot of times the wars that we've fought are basically about our basic needs not being met. A lot of the times. There's always an underlying underflow of that. All in all, Da Vinci was a bastard and not of royal lineage. And he left the world great gifts and ideas. I think we are all, I have said this before, but we need to be and I've also said this before, we have to go back to being secular again. And I believe that Da Vinci was also a bit of a secularist, even though he painted a lot of religious stuff for churches and for royalty and stuff. We need to recognize the rationality of humanity being worthy of individuality. We have concepts of universal rights. They are the hallmarks of the United Nations. They are a more expansive version of our Bill of Rights in America. It was not that long ago that we have a battle in America of class and social order between the 90% and the 1%. Remember that? Remember the 99% war kind of conflict, the protests? Where did they go? Like, it kind of just fizzled out. I'm a highly educated woman who was never successful at making money. Though I was always good with the money I had good credit. Though I think people have been trying to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore, and it's been really crazy. I could, if what I was doing matched my values. I could make money. If I made money, actually, no, that's not wrong, because I did make money. I made a living doing things I loved. I had ideas for films and characters like Da Vinci painted and came up with inventions. I was in the world that I belonged in. I was finally jiving. I looked really good. I was happy. I went through a mastectomy with a smile on my face. Where a person belongs is not based at times on birth. I remember being told in my youth I needed to figure out who I was. And now, as if all those years of figuring out what I have been are tossed to, we will define you based on our expectations and ignore who you say you are. That's not healthy. I mean, 1 in 5, okay, people have been treating me as though I'm somehow a criminal because I may have mental health issues. I have actual medical health issues. And the reality is, though, 1 in 5 people, I believe, in this country have some sort of mental health problem. Do they really have mentally health problems, or is the fact that we have a mentally unhealthy culture and a point of view, and it's my phone, sorry, it is horrible that we claim to be a democratic society, and yet our technology is being construed to silence so many voices by those at the top with the most funds. That's the one thing I noticed. I feel like half the time my social media accounts are being manipulated, especially Instagram and Facebook. Like, I'm off Facebook for the most part. I still have an account. I'm thinking about canceling it. Because I felt like what I post only meant something if I paid to have it post. That my friends sometimes didn't see my post intentionally. And even on Twitter, I feel like, and Twitter may not be responsible for this. I feel like there are people who are actually bots and stuff that actually be paid to manipulate my what I see, what I don't see. It's like there's friends I have who are follow, or even new people I just met who I've gotten to know, who I like, and yet some of them, especially if they're actors, especially if they have some sort of notoriety, I see their posts less. Yet I should see them more because they're verified accounts. And it makes me think that someone doesn't want me seeing those accounts, doesn't want me having those friends. And then I keep having these Christian men following me online, And it's like someone put me in a dating site somewhere, and I'm not in a dating site. And I get these men who, and it's gotten to the point now where I curse them out because I'm so angry. Because this is my life, people, and I'm running out of time to have a child. I'm not going to have a child now. So guess what? I don't want a man in my life. The only reason I would want a man in my life is I actually want to have sex with you. And if you can't turn me on and get me excited because you don't want to talk about the things that matter to me, I'm never going to want to be with you. I'm never going to want to. I'm not going to care. And I'm going to tell you that to your face because I'm honest. Do you understand the word honesty? Because I'm a secular Buddhist, and I probably shouldn't construe because I put myself a label. I'll just label myself. But one of the 5 precepts of Buddhism is being honest. You cannot, and I've always valued honesty. I've always valued truth. I'm an actor, but to me, and actually that's part of my personality, part of being what's called an INFP. This need to be authentic. And what people don't get is, as an actor, I'm playing characters, but I always try to play for the reality of that character. I play for the real. I play for the authentic. Our legal system, even civil suits, are not just if only the rich can get the best legal care. That's the way I feel like now. It's like, you got money, you can have legal justice. You don't have money, you can't get justice. I resigned as a lawyer because I could stomach the ethics issues of being a lawyer, and I didn't want to keep spending money for something I knew I wasn't going to use. If I was practicing, I would not have a choice who I represented. I would be with a firm because it costs money to be solo. Few people have to start their own law firm. And I would be taking the clients that were given to me by the firm, and I might not like them. I might not agree with them. I might think, you don't deserve justice, you're a lying bastard. And I have this little meter that goes off when people are lying to me. I would eventually go crazy. I would have probably committed suicide, or I would have gotten fired, or I would have quit. Or I would have gotten in trouble for an ethics violation, not because I did anything wrong, because I was trying to do the right thing, and and that wasn't what my client wanted or needed. But I couldn't deal with the fact that they were lying to me. And I had to do the right thing. See, that's the problem, okay? I cannot be an attorney. I'm a bastard, by the way, I'm a bastard according to the lead of SAG-AFTRA. According to a Twitter troll online, I've seen videos where the leadership talks about equality. Really? Yet I was told I needed to be 5150 by the cops because I was crazy. And it was because I said I went to law school, and apparently I'm required to date lawyers because I went to law school. I've never dated a lawyer. I mean, I've dated law students. Well, okay, I dated a musician who I think was still in law school, but he wasn't really practicing law yet. He was kind of he was taking the bar. I think if I remember correctly at the time I was seeing him. So I've actually never officially dated a lawyer. I'm a liberal and educated. I am Phi Beta Kappa and Mensa, and yet they are labels. Yes, I'm giving myself labels. But those are things I worked for. They're a part of my experiences. They're a part of who I am as a person. And if that means I'm smarter than somebody else, it probably does. But it also doesn't mean I'm not human. My apartment's a mess. I live in a box, okay? I really do. I'm not the cleanest person. Part of the problem is my office and, like, this is like my apartment. I'm in my apartment right now. But I've made this, like, put this thing up behind me so all it looks like is you just see me. And it's basically like one box. And my office in my bedroom and my living room and everything else. I've been smart enough to figure out how to do this so that I have this ability to be able to just kind of shut everything else out and just me in the camera. But it's like, to me, having a voice matters. Being able to express myself matters, I think. I created a site called Artistic Hope. And from my perspective, I'm a bastard. And not in a negative, derogatory fashion. I just wasn't born into the right family, but that doesn't mean I can't achieve whatever I want. It doesn't. I want everyone to do something. Look at the Bill of Rights and read it. Really read about it. You might not like finding out the truth about it, but with it we have individuality. Also, look up the the United Nations Universal Bill of Rights. Read about American history, world history, and with an open mind. None of this Fox News stuff. I'm not going to say where everything we say is the truth without question. Maddow on MSNBC recently said that's what made, or he was on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, actually said that the reason that Fox News and the certain news sources are looked at by the right as such a cultish kind of fashion is because they say we are the only people telling the truth. And so no one's going to question them. But I say question. I really do. I may be wrong to say this, but we are a nation of bastards. Granted, we are not all penal colonists like other colonies of Britain. There are colonies that may be able to say, no, we're more of a bastard. But we are comprised of people who left where they were from where they were from for something new, and they wanted something better. Better is not a class structure where what you were born into is your yoke for life. Remove the yoke and start finding out who you are. And find out who you want to be. Thank you. This is Cognition. Think for yourself. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do any more of these or not until January 2021. I might. This is episode 10. We will see. And just in case, I'm going to say happy holidays, whichever religion you practice. Or if you don't practice any, give yourself a hug and still party on, dude. Peace out.